Pain seems to play a large factor in whatever I do for content. The people who watch me love it, people everywhere around the world love it, so incidentally, I did a challenge that would turn out great. For you guys. To go a little into the background of this challenge, we have to go back about 15 years ago, where the PS3 was sort of in its working days, putting out hits that Sony refuses to acknowledge or let live again. The PS Move had just released, sparking up a total of 10 excited people who couldn't afford a Wii. And with that came the final release of the Resistance franchise a year later. Fortunately for me, my dad and brother decided to pick up this bundle that included the whole plastic gun and PS Move setup so we can use that at our disposal. Did we ever use it? Probably not a day in our lives. I don't remember a single instance in which we used this thing for its intended purpose. I actually have photos of the gun sitting around my house because I used to just play with it like it was a normal toy. Luckily, we wouldn't know that it would help me almost a decade and a half after its release. So that leads us to present day, where I took on the challenge to complete Resistance 3 using only the motion gun. I'm also going to be doing this challenge on hard because I think doing this game on normal or easy would be just too boring, but it made for some interesting moments. So without further ado, let's see how this wonderful challenge went. Before we can get to the pain aspect that a lot of you sadists are looking forward to, we need to establish the beginning of this whole thing. Let's start off by pointing out the obvious, and that's me standing in the corner looking like an absolute moron. I felt so odd standing up in front of a camera. I felt like I was doing a theater class where I was just presenting a project in front of a bunch of friends. Apart from that, the setup was just absolutely scuffed. It was so funny to me. I actually took a picture of it during stream. I'll pop up the picture on screen right now, and taking a look at it, there was a lot of things I had to do to make this work. First, I had to turn my monitor completely to the side so I can actually see what I was playing. Secondly, I borrowed a giant light that my mom had bought recently, which I lucked out on, because without that, I'd look god-awful without any lighting. After that, it was just setting up my mic close enough to where I could be heard, but listening back on it, I just sound far away. It wasn't the best, but it worked. I'm just happy I was home alone for this whole thing because I had to talk louder than I normally like. Lastly, the part that makes me laugh a little inside is the PS Move camera you definitely need so you can play the game. I had to get books from around my house and prop this thing up so it can look directly at me and also work with the gun. Luckily, in the end, it all worked well, is what I would say if that was true, because this game was still torture to play. Right as I started, I could already see the trouble outlining my future. Moving around wasn't hard at all, aiming my gun and shooting wasn't a big problem. What was the problem was the camera placement. You see, normally when you play a game, you can move in any direction you want with your left thumb on the controller, and you can use your right thumb to look at the place you want to move. The problem with this thing is that in order to move the camera itself, I have to move my entire body either left or right till I position the camera well enough to see what I need to look at. Worst of all, since this is paired up with the aiming function in order to point at what you want to shoot at, this doesn't work at all. I was basically easy pickings for most of this game because, when you want to focus on killing the aliens shooting you from a mile away, it makes for a pretty hard situation. Apart from that, it's just so dumb how they couldn't maybe include an extra analog stick somewhere on the gun so you can use your right thumb to look left or right. If that was the case, rather than focusing on moving the whole damn gun left or right to see what's attacking you in your ass, you would at least be able to just focus on aiming and have your right thumb held position where you want to look. That's the main problem, at least for now. So where are we in the game? The beginning starts us off in a random underground base filled with people hiding away from the alien invasion that started all the way back in Resistance 1. After a quick shooting range test that didn't really encourage any hope for this challenge, I was set on my way into the story. Almost immediately after that, I was put up against the first mini-boss of the game, who straight up just targeted my one weakness I had just talked about. This piece of garbage would circle around the building that I had to stand on top of with a force field that had to be broken by using like a pulse grenade. I wasn't even 20 minutes into the game, and already I was just absolutely dumbfounded on how disadvantaged using this thing was. Luckily, the mini-boss wasn't accurate to the point that showing my face would get it blasted apart, so I just tried my best hitting it with a grenade and just shooting the shit out of it. I know I said that the pain aspect of the challenge was to be expected later on, and that wasn't a total lie, but in all honesty, I was hurting already by this point. Okay, we're good, I think. Let's go. Did we do it? Checkpoint, let's go. Oh, dude, I'm so tired. I'm a weak human being, okay? And let me just say, after this, I earned a whole new respect for people who work jobs that make them just stand all day. As for the next area of the game, this place made me realize something I had never really thought about. I am blind as shit. For whatever reason, I could just not see these enemies for the life of me. Maybe it was the high-textured grass that let them hide like they were back in Nam, or it could be the fact that when you aim down the sights and shoot, you can't see jack out of that thing. There wasn't much to go on, if I'm being honest. I kind of just figured spraying until something's dead would work out, and eventually, I guess it did, but grenades did some of the work if I'm being honest. Moving forward, we get to meet a new enemy in the game that has a very interesting feature about them that I'll show now.
Oh. They shoot through walls? Fucking, what am I supposed to do with that?
As much as I made a big deal about this guy, I mean, he's sick as hell. Movement easily beats these enemies, especially when you look at the speed of his shots, which mostly never land. There's also the shield part of him that makes his head a sitting duck, so anything that barely moves in this game will get domed pretty fast. Right after, actually, which is something I've always loved about this era of gaming, is the fact that you pick up the gun they use and use it yourself. It's the same thing as playing God of War and Kratos picking up a new weapon from a god he just killed. It includes a lot more to the game, and I think it's just a really fun thing to do. The gun itself is pretty useful apart from it running out of ammo pretty fast, but I love the feeling I get from it. It feels like I'm back in a COD match where a modder gave me aimbot and I'm just going around shooting people all day. With that, I was able to clear some of the level going forward where I was able to pick up another new gun, but apart from it just being a 3-round burst, it's nothing special. What is special about the level I'm in was another new enemy that I completely despise because yet again, they do something that absolutely throws me off my ass. These assholes will be in an area at one point, and as soon as I'm able to look at them, they'll bounce around and move to a completely different place. I think the main thing you can really do about these guys is just wait for them to bounce back to the area you'll know they'll go to and then just shoot them. I think the worst part is that they'll snipe you down because immediately in 2 shots, they can kill you. Their numbers are also insane. Like, they'll drop like 10 of these guys, bouncing around like a bunch of monkeys, and here I am with a plastic gun trying to move around and shoot them. It took me a while to get used to all of this, but eventually I was able to clear them and move on to the next area, which is actually really familiar. The place where I took down the first mini-boss is where I was headed to next, and there I had trouble clearing out a shit ton of enemies because why would the game give you ammo when you can just imagine them dying? After clearing those enemies out is where shit hit the fan real quick. Low health, low ammo, low self-esteem. It was all too good for this game. This thing manhandled me the first time I saw it. Thankfully, killing it wasn't much of a problem than I thought it would be. It wasn't a giant bullet sponge that I had to keep shooting for an hour. Instead, I just had to focus on the giant orange parts on its bodies until they exploded. It kind of reminded me of the Margwas from Black Ops 3, which was a fun thing to look back on. The gorilla also focused on my allies instead of me, so I didn't get my ass tickled every time I moved somewhere, and it just let me shoot in peace at some points. With him down, I entered the end cutscene for the level, which was my saving grace, because that was all I was thinking about at every end point. Me having to sit down at every end level was the only way I could actually relax and give my back a break. As for the next thing we need to do, we end up in the middle of some river highway stuck on a boat surrounded by everything that probably wants to kill me. The good part about this place is the fact that I get a shotgun, which is by far probably my most used gun in this entire challenge. It's powerful, it has a good amount of range, and the secondary fire is basically a giant force grenade, and in the upcoming fights, we need that bad. While still on the boat, massive amounts of these like Fallout ghoul type enemies that run at you and chomp on you will start to jump aboard and do exactly that. I actually really like this mission. I never mind horde type objectives since just shooting enemies all level is pretty fun and relaxing, at least to me. Apart from some points being a little stressful, we also have a giant ammo box so you can basically use all your force grenades, restock, and dump it into your enemies and just rinse and repeat. It also took me way too long to realize there was a health kit. You can use however much you want it, so that stupidity made me lose a couple tries in. Right now, we're still in the parts that are introducing new enemies, so we get to see the ghoul ones I just talked about, but as well as these drones that are a bit of a bitch to shoot and to go against later on. Eventually, we finish that and get our boots on the ground, but the situation doesn't really change. In fact, it gets worse since the rest of the level is going through infested buildings with ghouls and these small-ass spiders crawling around everywhere. But as much as this game does punish us with these levels, they give back, since we get another gun, but this one's also pretty fucking sweet. It's basically a Tesla gun that'll auto-connect to any enemy surrounding you, given that you aim in their direction. Only thing, of course, like every other gun, it runs out of ammo really fast. Either way, all I need it for is to get me through the level, which it basically did. I mean, it got me through the super fast pace parts where I was getting bombarded by enemies the entire time. After getting through these areas, we can pick up a sniper rifle, which is another new weapon we'll need for certain parts of this game. As for how the rest of this level went, it was probably the most painful experience I had during the first stream of this game. It wasn't because of the level itself. I mean, it was hard and had a shit ton of enemies, and even introduced a new giant one that had the same Tesla-like gun as I just think it took as long as it did because of the breaks I had to give myself. They usually lasted for like 20 to 30 minutes, especially if I was talking to my chat during that time. I also don't really like survive type missions, especially when it's overloading my screen and making me question my sanity, but fortunately, I somehow got through even with the 2 of those Tesla dudes coming at me. Talking about big dudes, another gorilla was in my foreseeable future waiting for me, and my plump ass for the taking. In this tight area, I had to fight not only this big dude, but like 10 enemies all shooting at me while I'm getting thrown around like dirty laundry. The worst part was when I actually kill the gorilla, they would spawn even more of these guys, and I would just end up dying after. Getting through that, we can put a little bit more insights on the little bot guys I was telling you about that become a real pain in the ass to go against. These little dudes actually make enemies they cling onto unkillable unless you destroy the bot itself or the shield runs out after 30 seconds. They're your classic, let's make the enemies worse than they really need to be trope, but I kinda just had to deal with it. The next few parts are just super filled places with all the enemies you can imagine, packed up and shooting at me while I have to run with a stupid battery. Running with a battery wasn't even the hardest part either. It was actually doing the opposite where your ally has to carry it and you have to clear out the enemies. Luckily, I was able to show off my cool sniper skills and even landed a cool shot. Well, at least in my eyes, it was cool. At the very end, all that effort for this battery was thrown to the side for a very large boss battle that throws up acid everywhere and spawns baby ones to crawl all over you. People with arachnophobia would go crazy right now, but thankfully, the objective itself wasn't a puzzle to solve or anything like that. I just had to keep shooting at its red sacks and move a bunch. The whole time during this fight too, I would be sent from like full health to half almost instantly with the acid. And then the spiders would be in the tunnels waiting for me and damage me more than I really liked. So staying still wasn't really the best idea, but that was the real challenge right there. Using this gun to basically move around and shoot at this thing that had its final kill feature being an oddly looking loose skin hanging from below its stomach. Soon enough, I was able to beat this giant mini boss and left a good place to leave it for the first stream, which was only about like 5 hours of actual playing. I actually also forgot to mention the fact that I purposely waited for a week I would be home alone because having to stand up and yell at my microphone at 2 or 3 in the morning wouldn't be possible. So because my parents weren't home and I could only do it because they weren't, I basically had like a 3-day timer to get this done. So technically, I was pretty much trying my best to get through all of this as fast as I can. That's why for the next stream, which might not justify this, I actually streamed 7 total hours, which was basically up until 5 in the morning. Luckily, this would be the only stream I needed to do this because I was able to finish it that night. So let's go over how that went. The first level I came back to was basically filled with snipers who would lock onto me like I was Osama hiding in his cave. I mostly used the auger, which is the see-through walls gun, and the sniper, which are both going to carry my ass through the next set of levels since it's all mostly the same. It's basically just killing snipers, normal enemies, running into and through caverns, and rinse and repeat. That's until I get to the end of a certain part of a cavern that they decide to throw a bunch at me, like the giant Tesla dudes that I'm sure some girl's gonna have to hear me out on. As I move forward, we get to a bridge that suddenly explodes, clipping me underneath it to an area I was not supposed to be in, and abruptly died right after. Going back, it turns out I wasn't supposed to be there, but instead, I can grab a giant-ass rocket launcher and use it against the worst kind of thing in this game that they put me up against. Moving targets. On the topic of moving targets, after a quick cutscene to Chapter 11 and getting sent out to the field, I can be put up against these guys.
Neck hump? No, no. Oh, they explode. Fuck.
Fast-moving bipedal monsters, tons of corners and entryways into different places, and one shotgun to shoot 30 of these dudes coming at me. So much fun to be had. Normally, I probably would have had fun with this kind of level. I've said it before, it's fun to have a good shotgun against a whole army of infested creatures coming after you, but it's mainly the fact that I just couldn't turn around fast enough to keep up sometimes. Aside from the enemies just being overwhelming, it's also paired up with the fact that the area I was in was ginormous, so I got lost for way longer than I needed to be. Once I find my way, I can meet up again with our good pal Jonathan, grabbing a cryo gun that you know damn well I have to make a joke about, because I mean, look at the way this thing shoots, come on. However, as much as I can joke like a 13-year-old, the cryo gun was actually really useful since meeting up with Jonathan meant we had to go through a series of classic protect this person while they do some random bullshit objectives. As much as I love the shotgun and every other gun, as I've said a million times, ammo was just a thing nowhere to be found most of the time. But I realized with missions like these, they'll purposely put the ammo of the gun they want you to use, so you kind of just have to go along with it. That's not to say it made it more difficult, and maybe sometimes level designers can be right. Soon after, we end up on a train to wherever the fuck, and lets us get our 30th weapon of the game, the carbine, which is just your classic assault rifle with a grenade launcher stock. The gun itself sucks, in my opinion. It's probably because I'm on hard difficulty, but it does no damage and requires a whole mag to kill like one person. The grenade launcher is good. I mean, you can't really expect that to not be good, but having that here where a bunch of dudes are going to climb onto this train, it's the most useful thing around. At the end of this mission, our train crashes, leaving us with a random dude who makes our friend Jonathan depart on his own train to heaven. We get dragged to a new place that's basically just an arena for other dudes to kill each other in, which I think is the most stupid thing in the world. Like, there is a whole alien invasion. People are dying already, but here are these people doing a whole coliseum against other humans because why not? And the aliens that are the most deadly thing on the planet at the moment are nowhere to be seen. It really just doesn't make sense. I'm not going to argue with the ethics of man because I get to use a sweet ass hammer to send dudes flying, so I don't really care. After a quick prison break, I can make my merry way with a damn pea shooter against a whole army against me and pick back up my guns along the way. There wasn't really much to note about running around and killing a bunch of guys, other than the fact that I was left with like less than half health for 90% of the gameplay through it. Eventually, I escape into the sewer area that of course is filled with ghoul monsters, and this is the part I definitely struggled on. Same complaints except for the fact that if you're gonna make a horde level and a circle type area, don't put shit everywhere for me to get caught on. On the bright side, I actually made a life-changing discovery during this place. Not in the game. No. On the actual gun itself.
It's not what I'm pulling out. I'm pulling out the cryo gun. Pull out the cryo gun. Jesus fucking Christ. And I have to do this. Like, who designed this? Make a button on the... This whole time, there's been buttons on the side to reload and switch guns. Are you fucking kidding me?
Once we get out of that place, the point I was just talking about with the aliens not fighting these dudes who are killing each other actually are fighting them. And of course, that leaves one guy, that's me by the way, to get across them. Eventually, I work my way across, getting a couple more weapons along the way, and even find the douche who killed Jonathan and turn him into a 4th of July firework. After that chapter starts the uprising part of the game, meaning, you guessed it, one-man army time. Our first objective was 2 giant-ass bases right next to each other, filled with enemies that we have to get rid of. That wasn't the difficult part, at the very least. The part that did suck was having to defend not only one base, but 2 bases alone. And then the game thought it was a smart idea to say, hey man, let's just dump every enemy we have in development into this one level. So here I am running around, getting shot through walls with the wall hack dudes, running away from the Tesla guys, getting pointed at with lasers from the snipers, and just normal enemies. Oh, but not to forget the normal ones have these bots with them, so that adds a little culinary masterpiece to this godforsaken level. I got so pissed that the game decided to dump any and every mainline enemy into this place, but luckily, I didn't really have to defend anything specific from being destroyed, so just killing all of them took 30 minutes of running around and using any gun that could shoot. If I could explain in any way about how I felt during this time, which was 4 hours into playing, or basically 2 in the morning, it was exhaustion. I wasn't angry, surprisingly enough, maybe if a level pushed me like the one before this, but I think what was on my mind the entire time was, beat this as fast as I can so I can sit down. My back was on fire. It felt like a workout just to be standing up, so anytime I would die, all I could think about was how long it would take so I could take a break during a new chapter. An example of me feeling the fatigue during this was literally right after I beat another mini-boss, which was the same as the giant spider I faced at the beginning of the game. As soon as I saw a cutscene, which went for any time during this challenge, I would either grab my chair, which I resorted to during the later parts, or I would crouch in a baseball catcher stance since it was just the most comfortable to me. Despite this, I had no other thoughts other than to move forward because it's either I stay sitting down with my back aching for another hour and have to push myself the next day to beat the game, or I just stop being a pussy and beat it that night. So I stood right back up, moved onwards, and sat right back down for a well-deserved break because that was the end of another chapter. The next few chapters though are going to be filled with stuff, and I mean filled with stuff. We immediately walk into a giant field surrounded by snipers, which I did my best to clear with my own, but kind of realized it takes way too long to try and accurately aim this thing, and figured running through them was the best. All I had to do was clear 2 bases that had enemies inside along with a core we needed to destroy in order to get across a border stopping our way. By this time, luckily enough, I had a rocket launcher along with 3 other guns that could blow things up, and with all of these dudes being in close range, the shotgun was the right man for the job. Getting those 2 bases down, I walked through the wall to finally come face to face with another field with enemies. Oh, but this time, it's supported with those force field bosses I beat at the beginning of the game. There's not really much I can say to make this a lot more interesting than it was. I mean, it was slightly difficult, but I won't say it took me another hour to complete. But if you look at me, you could tell I was not at the top of my game. Tired eyes, a gun low to the ground because I just don't want to use more energy to prop it up, and a face pure of glee. This isn't even my job yet, by the way. Apart from the feeling of dread and tiredness, I continued on with the chapter, which led us to a small hut surrounded by a literal fucking firing squad. Like, it had those bots going around the thing trying to shoot at me, bombs being dropped all around, and even more of those force field bots. I had to use everything and anything I had in my inventory, especially to destroy the force field robots as fast as I could, because that's what the main mission was. So I was using grenade launchers, rocket launcher, throwing as many grenades as I could, and finally I took down what felt like 30 of those things. Finally, we were down to the last 2 chapters, with chapter 19 starting us off in the actual base of our enemies, joined along with an ally that I was more than happy to see, because being alone for a majority of the levels and having to take things on alone was destroying me. Going through the base itself wasn't all that difficult yet, just dying here and there if there was an overload of enemies yet again, but I will say that my one problem was knowing where to go. Now, it could be due to the fact that it was 4 in the morning, I was tired, sleepy, and my brain decided to shut off past 2 in the morning, and getting lost was something easy to do in a place that pretty much looks all the same. But as much as I had all those obstacles paired with a burning sensation in my back, all I had to really do was just kill and move forward. But again, by this time, the amount of breaks I was taking was more than the early game. On the bright side, having an ally really smoothed things over during these parts. On one end, while I was turning off shield while having 2 Tesla dudes run at me, it was nice enough to go after him rather than me. By that area, the game was really testing me, throwing out just about anything and everything this game had, and with low amounts of heals, I was pretty much just dying at the end parts of them. And as I've said before, any death just really affected how much I wanted to endure more time, standing up and completing levels that never seemed to end. Finally, the end game chapter came, having us only do one thing and one thing only: to destroy crystals around the room. By the first death, you could probably tell where I was mentally and physically with this place. Having the amount of enemies thrown at me meant multiple things. One would be that surviving running around and shooting crystals was a big maybe. The second thing would be that I would have to use more ammo than I already did not have. All I needed to do was shoot, but there's a damn near abundance of shit to shoot with. Health is the same as it always was. 2 canisters of figured it the fuck out, and here's a giant ass gorilla, because that's always fun. By that time, I had figured it out. I mean, as long as I could move enough, shoot accurately enough, I could get through. Luckily, after killing the gorilla, I was able to get a checkpoint. Somehow, at 1 health, I was able to run around, pick up another piece to ensure I didn't die from getting breathed on too hard, and destroyed the last crystal of the room. I'll let the rest of the VOD show you the end, so that'll be it for me. Enjoy.
Please tell me this is it. Lord, please tell me this is the final thing. I beg you. Let this be it. I don't know if there's going to be a boss battle or not. Oh, this looks like a boss battle stage, though. Oh, shit. Oh, he died. I don't know. Maybe? Oh, shit. Whoa. Are we going up or are we going down? Oh, like getting thrown around. Did that right? Oh, that did right. Oh. Is this the rapture? Fuck. That is not what I was hoping. Unless it's dead. No, it's not going to be dead. I knew it. I knew it. Oh. There you go. There you go. Okay. Does this thing just die already? Oh. Well, I wasn't hoping for like that, but okay, sure. Did we do it? I think we did it, boys. I think we beat Resistance 3. I think we beat Resistance 3 with only the motion gun on the hardest difficulty. I think we did it. We did it, boys! We did it! We beat Resistance 3! With only the fucking stupid motion gun! Hold on, let's wait for the credits, I guess. Came back to her ugly child and her beautiful wife. Dude, we have large hands, dude. Oh my god. We have massive hands. Congratulations! You defeated the game on difficult. Are you tough enough to try it on superhuman? Fuck no. If anybody can do it, go for it. I nominate anybody, dude. Anybody, go for it. I don't, dude. I need to see this. If somebody can beat this game with the motion controller on superhuman, by all means, take my cool card. All right. I think I'm cool because I beat the game on hard with the thing. So honestly, if anybody wants to do it, honestly, if anybody wants to take it from here and wants to do superhuman with this motion controller, go for it. Honestly, I will watch you. At me, I will watch you. I will make a video of it. I will see it.